Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Need to Nerd podcast. Paddy was expecting a countdown, but he's still here. Paddy B, what's up?
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's okay.
I
Roll with it.
liked the change in your facial expression when I didn't give you the countdown. You were like, you had like one face, and then you were like, "Oh,
We're in it now.
We're going. You gotta keep
Let's
you on
do
your
it.
toes. You gotta be ready. It's like an episode of Cobra Kai. Never die. No, we're not talking about Cobra Kai today. Today we're going to be talking about season 2 of Dragon Prince. Sorry we missed last week. Things got out of hand. He's fine. But we're here. And today we're repping. I'm repping. I don't know about Paddy. I'm repping the Mike Conley 10, his All-Star number jersey. For we often talk about sports at the beginning of the show, like we talk about fantasy football and we jab at each other, but I legit cried yesterday, time of the recording, where, everybody's like, yeah, obviously you cried, Spencer. But no, like Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Rudy is like my favorite core of all time. Yeah. I love Royce O'Neal for what he did for the Jazz, but like, take the threes, man. We'd be in a different situation if you had. No, I'm not. I don't want to put it all on him. I mean, but also you should have taken the threes. But it's sad. All 5 of those guys are gone now, and I'm gonna miss Royce's awesome ability to like play defense at a level that was something the Jazz really needed, and Rudy's defense, and all of it, and just 2 Utah guys. We didn't get to play fantasy basketball this season, but it would have, back in fantasy basketball's prime, so to speak, Donovan Mitchell was like a really sick pickup for fantasy owners because he was this draft pick that just happened to explode. And it was cool to have that be a story for like us in Utah. But I just want to say, like, okay,
it's hard to like, because we don't have a lot of other professional sports here in Utah, right? Like, they are the professional sports team is the Jazz, and it's just like this season, like we kind of know it's been a rebuilding year. We're blowing things up, and so like I've kind of just disassociated with basketball, and just not really cared. Now, granted, a lot of that comes after the All-Star break generally because we're so focused in football, but still, and wow, goodness, looking at getting tickets to that event is actual nuts here. It's being held in Salt Lake City this year. Everything surrounding it is just like crazy expensive. So
it's not for us; it's
just
for
kind of
celebrities.
sad.
But
Yeah,
I honestly like. It is sad, but like also just like a thank you to them. Like, I think that when Royce left, when Bojan left, when Mike's left, when Donovan left, like nothing but thanks. Like, and Mike.
Once a jazz man, always a jazz man.
I mean, that's true, but like, I think that there are very few players in Jazz history that were welcomed the way that that starting 5 like was embraced. And like,
yeah, because they brought us back, right? Like, there was a long period of time where we were going through coaches, right, and it was always felt like we were just kind of rebuilding, and not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then we got that core, kind of like you're talking about, and we started making the playoffs again, and so
yeah. I think that Rudy never missed the playoffs as a Jazz player. That could be true.
Wow.
He might have missed it his first year, but like he made it with Gordon Hayward the year before Donovan came, and then Donovan. So he might have missed his first 2 years even. But it's just something that we should be grateful for as like Utah natives that like talk about fantasy sports on their podcast. We just want to take a moment to say thank you to them. And also, like, congratulations to all the teams that like got improved during the trade deadline. Like, if you're a nerd that likes sports, the NBA trade deadline is like one of the nerdiest, funnest times. So,
100%. It's gonna be weird here. I don't know. Do you think Donovan's gonna, or not Donovan, but Westbrook is gonna play
Zero,
for us?
zero chance. I think that they are in discussions about the buyout and what it will actually cost. I think that's.
To just like ship him elsewhere. We just wanted the draft pick
I mean,
that came
you don't have
along
to
with him.
ship him anywhere. The trade deadline's over. You just have to say how much does it cost to buy you out of this contract. We don't want to play you.
Yeah, because that's just like the history with him specifically and our fans and state, right? Like
Yeah,
they've really clashed, and I was just like, wow, okay,
yeah.
we traded for him.
Uh, let's go into some housekeeping. Today, I gotta
Yeah,
play Smash with some Discord people. Specifically Tuxdev. Thank you so much for playing with me and Matt. Really awesome. Paddy and I haven't gotten to meet about the Patreon yet and stuff like that, but that is coming as well. So stay tuned for the updates to Patreon, potentially new Patreons. But yeah, let's get into the nerd fact of the week. Paddy B, this will be the first E3 without Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. At
wow.
least one of them has been at every E3 before this, and none of them will be at this E3.
Why is that, Spencer? Like, why do you think that is? They're such huge companies in in gaming,
I
right? They're
I
the consoles.
I think that E3 is dead, and the way to communicate with.
Okay.
I mean, that's probably not true. I'm sure that indie people really want to get into E3 and stuff like that, but like for them, they just have better communication avenues than a big convention, and
Got it.
so there's not really a
So
reason for them to be there.
sure, is it more not the big companies themselves like Xbox, PlayStation, but like the developers for the games that they own, right? Like maybe
No,
some of
because
those
I don't think that they're
exclusives will
allowed
be
to do.
there.
I don't think they're allowed to do it either. So like
Oh, okay.
so like my guess is like indie developers or like gaming hardware people like PDP would show up or like Gully Kit or
Hmm.
like these companies that like make either retro hardware or things to improve stuff like they would show up. The uh oh, what is the name of it? I have this controller right here. Hold on. The Hyperkin 64, for example, which I don't even know if
Hmm.
you can buy yet. That was unveiled at E3. So like stuff like that, where like it is like the that type of stuff will still exist, but there's not like between the, like Xbox has something across the street, like their own like place that they can host stuff and things like that, and I just think that it's an end of an era, and I think it's sad for a lot of people. But I just
Hmm.
I thought it was an interesting nerd fact of the week that like this is it. This is the end of we talked about the end of the jazz era, right? It's also the end of a gaming era.
Sure.
COVID be
That's pretty
messing with
wild.
stuff, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it killed competitive. It did its darndest to kill competitive magic and video games and our sports team.
It's crazy. Let's
Wild stuff.
let's talk about the main topic though. Let's get off of this. Let's talk about Dragon Prince season 2. Academy,
Yeah.
what
So
is Dragon Prince season 2?
Dragon Prince season 2. So the egg is hatched, but what do we do now? Our trio goes forward after a stellar season 1 to find magic, dragons, adventure, and maybe love. This season of Dragon Prince brings us epic moments of caring, daring, mystery, and betrayal.
I, I love that. I don't know who wrote that, but that makes a lot of sense to me. Uh, Also, your voice is just better than mine to read something like that. I honestly like. I want to hit a few highlights about what it is.
Mhm.
First of all, the Stellar season 1. We've already talked about it on the show. Um, Patty, this is like in the vein of things that you don't usually consume, and you loved it. You were impressed. The writing was great and things like that.
Mhm.
And if you've gotten this far into the podcast and this is your first time listening, one of the things that I really encourage you is to go watch season 1, but also that there's a really good quote going around that says, "Anime is not a genre. Anime is a animation is actually how they say it is a um, is an art form." Like
Mhm.
it's the form of the type of the form of the content that you're consuming, right? Like uh, like there are genres of books, but not all books are a single genre. And there are movies, but like not all movies are a single genre. And people in the West here love to categorize all animation as a single thing. This is a fantasy animation. Um, it's an epic fantasy animation, and I hope that people, we talked about mystery, betrayal, dragons, adventure, magic. I mean, that's just the type of stuff that like people love regardless of its medium, right? But between books, between movies, between film, it's pretty beloved.
100%. Yeah, that as folks who love fantasy stuff, it's a really good and easy bridge into more styles of animation. And you're totally right, right? That it's more of an art form and how you tell the story rather than its own genre. You can do anything in animation.
Yeah, a really good example of this is I got asked by somebody who listens to this podcast. They're like, "Oh, are you guys so stoked for the Aragon show?" I was like, "Oh, I'm super stoked." They're like, "Yeah, I can't wait for like Game of Thrones but Aragon." And I actually said, "I actually kind of hope it's animated. I think that will actually fit the medium a lot better. I don't even care about the animation. Like the animation style might like matter to me a little bit, but I actually think that like as a young adult content, bridging the gap between the adults who read it that are into like Lord of the Rings and stuff and the kids, like I wouldn't hate that being an animated thing on Disney."
Yeah, I
And,
can see that too.
yeah.
It might
Let's
be
go ahead.
yeah. It might be it just might be able to get it out faster that way too, right? Like filming and getting actors together, the whole like production process, kind of like we talked about with Mikey on the Famish episode, right? Like that all takes tons of time, and so I think I'd be totally happy with an animated version of it
And
because
what's really cool is
Paulini's writing it, which is great.
yeah, and the thing that would be really cool about that, like that I love about Dragon Prince is like it's a lot easier to get people into a voice studio to do voices, right? And like,
You can
there are,
separate them out, and
minor Aragon spoilers, but like there's a lot of aging and magical transformations and like lots of things that might be suited better for animation and voice recording so that you get to consistently carry over these people. But I don't know.
right? Because you can do different things with a voice, right? You can have the same actor do different things with their voice to sound older, uh, and ways like that. But it would be harder to have to recast, right?
Yeah,
From
I
the
just think
change
that
from
casting, yeah, like casting a 15-year-old and then recording, however many seasons it would take to do a show like that,
hmm
what ends up happening? Like, we've seen it so many times. The kid hits puberty because he's a boy and he hit it late, and then now you have a 21-year-old playing a 16-year-old later, and you
right.
can tell. And
Yep.
the thing I really like about this show is we're 4 seasons in, and they do a time skip, and I guess I'm not gonna spoil this for Patty B. Actually, sorry.
I was
Like,
like, time skip.
so like the first 3 seasons of this show take place over like a month,
Mm.
right? Like, and just that kind of storytelling that this gets to do and the medium that this gets to be in, I think is really cool. Let's talk about our first impressions, though. What are your first memories of this? The first time you watched season 2, Patty?
Yeah. So before I had said that it was very diverse and that it felt like an early season of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It still feels early, right? You now I kind of know going into season 3, right? Like this is all I knew after watching season 2 that they were very close in time, right? It was right after the other, um, and I think the diversity only grew, right? We got to see more of um of
Zadia?
Corvus's
Zadia?
like well Zadia. and then like the Corvus's warriors from like his
Yeah.
original group, right? Like um we saw more people of color in this show.
I mean, even what was really cool is there was diversity even among the Zadians too, which I thought was interesting.
Mhm,
Like the Sun Elves are different than the Moon Elves, which are different than the Star
mhm,
Elves. Like there's diversity within all the regions between the humans and the Zadians, and that was
mhm.
pretty cool.
100%. Yeah. So those things still hold true, and those are my earliest impressions or memories with the show.
Do you watch it with? Have we ever said your wife's name on the show? I'm not. Yeah, we have.
Shelby.
Yeah, have we
Yeah.
ever? Did you watch it with Shelby?
So we watched the first season together. I watched season 2 by myself last Saturday. I just kind of just blazed through it because it's only 9 episodes.
Is she gonna watch it?
I think she will. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna
So
ask what
we do
her.
that with a lot of things. But sometimes I think for this show's purposes, I might need to watch
It's
something
the same with me. There are
without
times
her.
where like I'll
Yeah.
watch something with Devonair that I have a long time to prep for the show, and then I'll just be like, "Hey, Dev, I gotta watch this for this podcast."
Hmm.
So
And I'm totally fine rewatching it, again
that's
after.
good first impressions for me. The first time I watched this was with Devonair. I
Hmm.
might have mentioned this on the first episode. Devonair and I actually talked about it today. That we actually binge watched season 1 and season 2. I think I think back to back or within
Yeah.
a really short time. Like season 1 had just come out, and then season 2 dropped shortly after that, and we binged watched that one too. And
Cool.
so what's so funny about that is like in this rewatch, because I've actually now watched this season 3 times. Even this time, there were moments that I did not remember because I binge watched it with Maxwell the second time, and now I've binge watched it a third time, and I'm just bad at binge watching shows. Um, so my first impressions, I remember being really excited and just wanting season 3. And what's so funny is season 3 is so memorable for me that I think I missed out on a lot of what season 2 had to offer. There were really memorable parts, and we'll probably talk about some of them. But yeah, this really memorable season. This show, I believe, got extended. So we're about to get into spoilers. If you haven't watched season 1 or you haven't watched season 2, this is where this starts. I just want to say great characters, great character development, which Patty B and I will get into. Really fun to watch. And, always shout out to the young kings and queens of the humans. All right, that's it. That's the spoiler time, baby. Let's go. Overall impressions. High level look at what we're reviewing. I'm gonna go first.
Yep.
Season 2 is tonally different. It's really interesting because it's like both less comedic and less dark than season
Hmm.
1. And it's very much it almost feels like a bridge season where like from the
Mm-hmm.
moment that they because this season has like what's his name trying to kill the princes.
Soren,
No,
her
Soren's
brother.
Soren. No, Soren's the dad. What's his name? It's Oh no, Soren is
Soren.
the person. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, Soren's
Paddy's
trying to
brother.
kill the princes, and like that episode's great and stuff like that. But like tonally, it's different because like it's less dark while he's trying to do it. I mean, there are dark parts, but that's my overall impression is less dark, um, less not maybe less comedy is not the right word. It is almost different comedy in some ways.
Hmm.
It's not less funny, but it's like it's the comedy is less is is more focused on what's happening and less uh character humor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I'll go into it and I love it. They got kind of like meta, right, with their humor. Um, doing a lot of things that are like memes, but like worked it into a fantasy show, which was great.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of the comedy is still consistent, it's just different.
Yep.
Um my other overall impression is like uh this show is going from the thing is, like, season 1 and season 2, like, it's short, so it's still
Mm-hmm.
developing and showing its identity of, like, here is what we're trying to, the message we're trying to convey. And this show kind of hammers home on some of the season 1 points while also teaching lessons to other characters and starting new threads, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll give an example. The dark magic thread continues, right? Where it's like from season 1 to season 2, or maybe it's
We see
just in,
different ways of
yeah, well, it really is
different ways of using it.
really hammered home in this season specifically.
Yeah, like
Um,
how Claudia does what she does, and
yeah,
yeah.
and I think that's like really interesting, but it is almost, it is, the way that it's talked about is almost less dark than season 1. I don't know. Those are kind of my, like, overall, and then also it's just good. Like, it's good. Uh, I enjoyed. I've watched it 3 times, so obviously I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what about you?
Yeah. So agree with a lot of stuff what you said. I think only thing I'd add is there's less. Because it's not the first season, right? We kind of mentioned how it's a bit of a bridge season. Um, that we get to not introduce as many new characters, right? And take the time, that what precious little time we have in the season, right? Because they do still feel pretty short. Um,
Do they actually
but
even introduce a new character? I actually.
yeah, the
Oh,
the
the
new
Sun Elves.
villainy,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, sure. There's two. Okay, yep.
and maybe the other like royalty, but that's just like little. Um, so it's like it's because it's like right after, um, the end of season 1. We're still in that space with the same people that you got to know throughout season 1, which I liked.
Yeah, I do think that it is almost a continuation of season 1, which is kind of the same point I was making in a lot of ways.
Could have been.
Yeah, I will get to that. Um, yeah. Let's. I don't want to spoil, like, the rest of the episode. Uh, let's talk about our favorite characters. I went first last time. Paddy B, go ahead.
Yeah. So, my favorite character this season, last time, it was Bait. Um, in the I hadn't, I love the nonverbal animal characters, but this season for me, it was Claudia. Um, there is something about, um with this season. You mentioned kind of how the way dark magic is talked about is less, I don't know, maybe like spooky than it was. Like the way, the dissonance of like this girl who wants to be doing good, but everything that she does with dark magic, like taking the energy out of other animals, essentially, essentially killing them, right? Is just so. Oh, it's just how it's done. We have to make certain concessions as humans, right? But it's still gleeful, and like the distance there is just super interesting, and she's got some of the
You
funniest
mean
parts as well.
dissonance?
Yeah,
Oh,
dissidence,
dissonance.
dissonance. Yeah,
There we go. We're learning words on the
words
podcast.
are words are hard.
I thought you said distance. I was like, that's not the word you're trying to say.
No, no, I did write dissonance, but processing and
Claudia
speaking
Claudia is
is hard.
Claudia is so great, so loyal, and
Yeah.
uh, I didn't put it in there. Did you? I'm gonna just check the show notes really quick because I want to know if you put it in there. Okay, so I don't see it in the love it, so I'm gonna mention it really quick.
Okay.
Her and Soren sitting on the tower, or not Soren, her and Ezrin sitting on the tower is so sweet. And, like, she's like, I'm here to capture you. I'm not gonna really do it because, like, we're having a moment. Like, she's a sweetheart. And it's really hard when like the sweetheart's a bad guy in, like, a lot of ways.
Yeah.
but like she's not a bad guy. She's just her, and she's a sweetheart. And then she's helping Ezra and being a sweetheart, and she's like, "Okay, bye bye." But like, it's
right, or like fixing Soren's back, but like having to kill the baby deer,
oh my
right? Like
gosh, oh my gosh.
just
She's like, when the second that he's like, "Oh yeah, the deer love milk fruit," she's like, "Yeah, they do. Leave, please." And she's
yeah,
like, "I'm about to get some deers. Let's go."
yeah. So
Your favorite
she's
character
just
is
super
a
puzzling,
baby.
and it's great.
Your favorite character didn't kill Bambi's mom. She killed Bambi.
I don't think I ever watched Bambi.
It's
It,
over.
it's eh.
It is both overrated and underrated by different crowds.
Gotcha.
It's a good movie. It's sad and stupid. Great animation for its time.
100%.
Uh, my favorite character this season honestly surprised me. It was Rayla. Um, Rayla is what we talked about. How the comedy is different in this show. It is actually not different for Rayla. Rayla
Hmm.
is on the beat, on the tone, on the that like she is so Rayla from season 1 to season 2. She does change and like her opinions and beliefs change, but like
Hmm.
her sarcasm and like her
Still making four-finger jokes.
yeah, she kind of reminds me of me with her comedy, where it's like she laughs at herself a lot. And like is super dry, super corny. She just reminds me of me in her comedy, and I laugh at her a bunch. So maybe that's why. But
Because we
like,
laugh at ourselves.
yes. I thought Rayleigh was great. She has a lot of character growth, and I really liked a couple of moments with her too. Like, there's moments when she is like, "No, I know that we said we're gonna do this, but I need to go save this dragon." There's moments where there's tons of moments. Uh, there where she has to be the one to tell Ezrin, where uh, she makes fun of the tracker guy. Like Rayla has a lot of opportunities and moments for Rayla to be Rayla. And what's cool is that she's gotten over some of her stuff from the first season and gets to, I don't know, if explore her courage and like try to bring her redemption that she believes that she needs to fruition. But it's pretty cool. Should we go to favorite storyline?
Yeah, 100%.
So I have a few favorite storylines. The first one is I'm gonna go do these out of order. Um, well, no, I'm actually just gonna say what I wrote and then I'll talk about them. My favorite
Hmm.
storyline is the Wind, the Pirate, and the Callum. Uh, and I picked this because the pirate is so much departure from the rest of the show, but also uh, he has the comedy of some of the other folks, or from season like he has the season 1 style comedy in a lot of ways, but then he bridges in his later episodes during Callum's Stream into like the season 2 style comedy. Uh, Overall, I think that Callum wants to be something and believes that he is something, and the fact that what is this pirate's name? I need to get his name.
The lads. He's so interesting.
Dude, the lads is there are so first of all, I consider him and his parrot one character, and I want to be clear about
Yeah,
that. I think that they are a
100%.
singular character.
Well, he
And
doesn't work without the parrot.
yeah, exactly. And the fact that like they set up Callum's dream with him,
Hmm.
and then what 6 episodes later, it might be 7 episodes later, all of a sudden he's on a ship with the guy again. and he is the reason that Callum is able to unlock this thing, but he does it through like these moments of nuggets that Callum has to unlock, and it's really funny because like also shout out really quickly. This is now a blind character. We've had a blind character, a deaf character, black characters, just like the diversity is real and it's not forced. It doesn't feel forced at all. Like it's just like
these are the people that are here.
There's like a line here where he talks about being blind, and they all turn to him. You're blind on this ship?
Right? Like, wait, what?
What do you mean?
How do you
That's
do
a funny
this?
moment. It didn't feel forced at all. They're just on a ship with a blind pirate. Yeah,
I thought that was kind of planned, just like as a way to not have Rayla be discovered as an elf, because humans don't want to help elves.
Sure, this guy would, even if he had a vision. But the whole story of like unlocking your potential through the advice of others that they might not even realize they've made that impact on you is like, I'll say two things. One, that has happened to me. There are a lot of people. I had the director of training at a job I had at a company called Thumbtack. Go to thumbtack.com, use it. It's a great website. Really impacted me one time. He was like, people love to say that they're team players, but if you walk into your job and see a piece of trash on the ground and don't pick it up, are you really a team player, or do you expect somebody else to do that job? And I was like, wow, that is so true. And the number of times that I've seen a piece of trash and thought about that comment and picked it up because of it is 100% of the time. But I really do think that like Callum using dark magic and then fighting with himself, going back to this moment where he was trying to unlock this primal urge to be what he believes in and what he believes is okay, and like, I don't know, that's my favorite storyline. What about you?
Yeah, no, that is, you hit it right on the head. That is my favorite storyline from this season, right? I think because Callum going through and all of his conversations um, with the Moon Elf, right, to try and figure out like how magic works and really diving into the why, right? We talk about that a lot in a lot of what we do with always improving is like finding your why, um, and he does it this season, right? He breaks it down and he cracks the code as far as um, how he as a human can understand the energy of wind in the sky, right? And use that to make magic happen. It's great.
Let's go into could be better. This is the segment where we talk about things that we think could be better. This isn't things that we hate. This is framed as like, hey, I think this could have been better. This is not a critique of the director, the writer. Like, this is just, hey, this was interesting to me, and I maybe would have done this different. To me, there were a lot of flashbacks in this season. There was literally 2 entire episodes dedicated to flashbacks, and that was all they were. And that wasn't all the flashbacks in this season, in a 9-episode season.
Right, still a little short to be flashing back. There's still a lot of story to tell.
That was my. What's funny is maybe that's why I have this problem. It just felt so early to be like I don't think that I needed to know uh why. Like, it is clear that Virus is trusted, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt so early. Like, it was cool the way they did it, so I don't want to like take away from the fact that like Virus is telling the story at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
it is, I don't know. It felt so like early to tell that story. Maybe it was necessary. I'm not a writer. Yeah, yours is
Gotcha.
the same complaint as last time.
Right, so I have that one, right, that it still feels really short, that I was just aching to have a longer season. Now watching season 2, I think season 1 and season 2 could have been one whole season, and it would have maybe we wouldn't have felt the way we did about those flashbacks, right? If it's all one season connected, right? Say that's episode, 13 or 14 when you get a flashback. It's a little different than separating it out and breaking that down. Um, but for me, this season, I felt like we kind of lost Amaya, the deaf character in the show, this season, just a little bit because her translator is still locked up in Claudia's dad's basement, and I think that just I wanted more. I think that character kind of got lost because there wasn't any signing, or they didn't really grow as a character, right? You see a couple battles with some of Ezrin's uncles,
I,
that whole group of
I'm
folks.
really glad you like this character, and I will say to you and to the listeners, without spoiling anything, stay tuned. You will like them more. Not the translator, but Amaya.
Yeah,
Um,
because she's
Amaya
made
was
to
a
feel
huge.
important,
No, Amaya was a
and
huge part of the flashback. Like she had two whole
right,
episodes where she was a part of the. Like, come on.
yeah, when they go and fight the
Well, so hold
fire
on. This is
thing,
the thing though,
right?
is that you're not getting character development during flashbacks, except for the characters that aren't in the flashback. Right? You're
Hmm.
getting you're getting deposition of Amaya.
Yeah,
So if anything, those should have made you love her more. And the fact that her translator was locked up didn't matter because most of her time was in flashbacks.
yeah. I forgot about the flashback that like she was
She's the whole
involved
reason,
there.
right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the whole reason,
Sure, that's
but
fair.
like
I shouldn't yum your yuck.
she's she's involved in the flashback, but like those other parts, right? We're really focusing on her, and
Well,
that's
hold on. I guess what I'm saying is the reason things go awry is because she gets hurt.
right.
So she is a focal point of the flashback, and that if that's not a depth, like a understanding of the character and their
Sure.
motivations,
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Um,
you're allowed to yum my yucks too. By the way, for what it's worth, I'm not defending the flashback, so maybe I'm
sure.
wrong.
Well, because the flashbacks, felt early for you, so I don't
Well,
know.
they only felt early because. No, you're right. No, no, you're right. It what it. You're right because like I could
So it
have
doesn't
known.
feel like it's growing her as much.
Yeah, well, it's not growing her. It's growing. It's growing Callum. Uh,
Yeah.
no, that's fair. Okay, I like it.
So that's just, and again, we said it before, right? These are could be betters, right? It's because we love
We
those
love the
those
content.
characters and those things. So
Let's do some love it's
yeah,
though. What are the things? These are the segment we're talking about things we love the most about what we're reviewing, and I want you to go first.
yeah. So um, I love how I mentioned it a little bit before about the meta ness, right? We see some memes pop up where Rayla says, one does not simply walk into Zadia, right? Famous, Boromir fantasy meme, and Claudia with her morning brown potion, alluding to everyone. Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. Um, there was just
Hold
some
on.
of that.
You made a joke about this to my son tonight before we
Yes.
recorded, and I was like, there's
Yeah.
like either dead bugs or like dead animals in that, right?
I didn't like. It didn't process for me that like the potion is like also part of like dark magic. as to why
You're
there's
like, I
bugs of
love that.
animals in there.
I love that morning death of an animal potion. It's funny because like
Hey, I mean, what are beans? We grind up coffee beans,
you know
right?
what's funny is like as like a human that has been a vegetarian and is no longer, have clearly made the decision that I will consume animals for substance. And there's not really a difference. I think there's a difference. There's somehow a difference to me because it's dark magic, but it's probably not that different.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that was a big thing for me. Just also going back to my favorite character, right? How Claudia is just like, oh, you talk to animals. Did you talk to that animal? And he's just like, yeah. um,
Dude,
we get to
Claudia's great in this season.
yeah, love her. We get to see all these dragons. Some good, some bad? Question mark at the end of the season. I guess there are also like evil dragons.
Talk to me about that. What do you think is an evil dragon?
So at the end of the season, right, as soon as they get into Zadia, right, Rayla's like, "Oh crap, it's this guy." I forget the name of the dragon,
Soul.
and
You're talking about Soul.
It's like a bad thing, but then they
No,
cliffhang
well,
you
it's
there.
not. I
It's
will.
made
I will not spoil season 3 for you. It's not a bad thing. He don't like the humans, and he has a reason for that.
okay.
Uh, and he can smell the human, and he don't
Okay,
like him.
okay. So little bit spoil, but it's okay.
There's no
That's
spoil.
that's
But no dragons like humans right now. They killed the king.
fair enough. Um,
He
the
actually,
way that
I don't know this. This is something Maxwell said to me tonight because we started season 3. Maxwell
uh huh.
said that before X happens, which I won't spoil,
Okay.
that this was the previous Dragon King, and that is not clear to
Oh,
me.
it's
So
like an Uncle Scar situation.
before Thunder, the Dragon King that we know about from this season, right?
Okay,
When that this was actually the Dragon King before that,
gotcha.
but something happened to end that. So stay tuned for season 3, episode 1. Um,
Yeah, now I have to like watch that very quick here.
he's not a bad guy.
Okay, I
I just want to be clear.
the way that Rayla like
She
kind of
was
presented him
upset.
with
She
the
was like, "Oh,
cliffhanger.
this." Well, he's like the guardian of Zadia. Like he's not letting anyone through.
Got it. Okay.
It's a problem because it's a giant, like
Yeah,
thunder level strong dragon they have to get past.
super huge dude. Okay. Um, and then just last couple things here. I thought that I loved the way that Ezran kind of grew um with everyone kind of trying to dance around telling him that his father died and
It's so
he's the new
sad.
king. It's super sad, but
But
like
also, would you want to tell Patty B?
we must
Patty B.
protect Ezran at all
Patty B.
costs.
I died tomorrow. It's your responsibility to tell Maxwell. You can take him out for ice.
don't
What are you gonna do?
don't put that on me.
I'm just saying. Who
I know.
tells
It's so hard. It's
this
so
kid's
hard.
like? Is he even 11? How old is he?
I don't know.
He can't.
Young.
He can't
He
be.
can't be.
He can't be more. He can't be more than 10. He's a baby.
Yeah. So, but like it connects with a few other things, right? With you know Rayla not wanting to talk to Callum about it, and um, you know that relationship, this whole keeping things from each other because we're trying to protect you from it. It hit home, and then finally, new villain? Question mark! Exclamation point! Erebos. I really
Yeah, I mean,
liked
we can't
this
beat around
dark
the
dude.
bush. The show is now named after this person.
Got it.
They changed the name of the show literally since our last episode. So let's just bring it up really quick.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, I couldn't find the Dragon Prince. Like, it's like, do you want to keep watching Erebos? I was like, what? Okay.
Sorry,
I mean,
I actually don't know that it's not called Erebos. It's called
It's Mysteries of Erebos or
Mysteries of
something like that.
Erebos is now the name of the
Yep.
show. And I don't know really what to do about that because, like, I'm not finished with season 4. I don't know how to, like, frame
So
it. Go ahead.
is like is it the same story, right? But like
Yes.
this part is the Dragon Prince. It's like um A New Hope, and then like Mysteries of Erebos is like the beginning of Empire, right? And
It does feel
Empire will
that
have
way,
like three
yes.
seasons, and then they'll
It
just give
it
it different
it
names.
it does feel that way.
Because like on the fandom page, it still is like book 1 Moon, book 2 Sky, book 3 Sun, book 4 Earth.
But wait, no,
Um,
book 4 is the Mysteries of Erebos.
yes,
Oh, but they changed the
but it's
title?
still tied. It's still like classified as book 4 Earth, even though the name of the show is technically different.
Yes, okay.
It's weird,
Yeah. So
but
this is a good time to talk about it.
yeah,
This dude be mysterious.
yeah. It,
Uh Spoiler
he's like
alert, that don't change. This dude is different.
he's a little centipede
So this is a love it. Like, do
thing.
you like oh so hold on. Is he a centipede? What is he?
You really don't know, and he's so mysterious. The mysteries of Erebos.
Yeah, so like there are a lot of parts with him. I love that you brought this up, like you know, oh wait. I
You
don't.
have to be able to separate things of season 3 that you know
No, no,
about
no,
him.
no.
We really don't get to
It's
know too
actually an
much.
Aragon spoiler that I want to talk about. So, Aragon spoilers, plug your ears if you haven't finished the series. But in this season, they erase. Anytime anybody reads his name, the book just goes to just ruins, right? And that's the same
Mm-hmm.
thing that happened to the Forsworn in Aragon.
Right.
So
I,
he did something bad. Like that's my
I think
only.
it is in Brissinger. I think that is in
I think it
Brissinger
is
because we
too.
talk
I
about his
think
parenthood.
we did. I also think that like that we had already mentioned that book, but I didn't want to be
Hmm.
like, is that an inheritance? But I also think it's a Brissinger.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he obviously did something horrible. Like he's locked in a mirror. If you read his name, the book turns into like this inky grossness. It's really interesting, and also like offering.
And the mirror was like in the king's, like it was taken from the Dragon King's hoard, essentially. Like it was
Yeah,
something very precious, and like I'm gonna protect this mirror, like
he didn't want
because this
people getting
dude
that.
so bad. Yeah.
Uh, cool. Any other Levitts?
Um. Yeah. No. That about sums it up with the Erebos thing. Kind of him unlocking some more dark power. Um.
Well, do you want to talk about that? Like the end?
Yeah. So I don't know. I keep there's a lot of character names, but Claudia's dad.
Yeah, we're talking about Viren.
Yeah. Okay. Viren. Yeah. So he, with the help of Erebos, has this like crazy fight scene with all the lords. Um. After, and we'll talk about it in some of your Levitts as well. Um, but Erebos really unlocks a new level of dark power for Viren.
Yeah. So my first big Levitt is I can't I don't I'm sure that there's a way to say this name, but I think it's Anaya. Actually, I watched this today. I'm sure it's Anaya, but if we're wrong, I'm sorry. Um,
Hmm.
she what there are so many things I love about her. Um, her listening to the story from Viren and coming to a very different conclusion. Her being so pure, um, coming from you know, I what's so great is like you don't even realize until her mother's kiss in the scene in the flashback scene that her parents are two women and that it's diverse women and that she's
Just more diversity.
yeah it I don't know. You know, she is she's 11 years old, queen of Durin, and she reminds me a lot of the what's the bear house in Game of Thrones?
Leanna Mormont.
Leanna Mormont is like that. It was like almost as she was talking to Varen, I was like, oh my gosh, like my one true king, the king of the north, was like going through my head, and um, you know, I thought it was a good version of that character, a very compelling version, loving, honorable, just like, you know, Viren does all this stuff to make her hate. And her response to that is like, listen, we did stuff, they did stuff, let's move forward. And it's like such a heart of a child type of response that I just think it's a huge love for the show. Next up is Dargans. There are so many more dragons in this part of the show.
We actually get to see the dragons.
You know, we get to see Thunder. We get to see. I don't know the name of the flame one. You know, there are just so many dragons. So we get to see Soul at the end of the show. There's so much going on here, and we understand that they occupy like a very special space in this world. And honestly, like this whole even with Soren like trying to take down this, he's like, no, we're gonna kill this thing. It's like flying over our village, and like he recognizes it as an always improving moment for himself. And I don't know, like I love it. One, I love how different the dragons look from one another. Like they're not all the same dragon. Like they're very different from one another, like as a species, and like you continue to see that, and I just love that. You want to say anything on that before I keep going?
Yeah, just getting to see more of Zim, right, and him getting to fly at the end, um, was just like huge ups. Loved it.
My next is just like, I think you had this in your show notes and you changed it. You didn't talk. Did you talk about this part? I think
Briefly, but it's
okay.
your love it.
No. You should talk about like Ezrin in his animal conversations, and then talking to other people about what animals are thinking, what they're doing. Like Ezra, not Ezra.
It was more. Mine was just about his conversation with Claudia, right? Like how Claudia just like recognizes,
that's
like,
the biggest
oh,
moment.
you just talked to the animal, and they're the most overt about it. But throughout the show,
oh no, mine is actually before that. For what it's worth, mine is actually when he shows up and is talking about what the bear thing likes. Was one of my favorite moments. So they're like 2 minutes apart, if that. But I love Ezra's ability to just casually talk about things. I think that's something that you liked, where he's like, yeah, like that's the squirrel said this, this bear thing said that, this spider thing that's trying to kill us said that. Like it's he has an innate ability. I mean, not just his ability to talk to the animals, but like his ability to really communicate to others is really impressive. And that, my last love it is just the ability for Callum to connect to the magic. They're like lots of they do a great job of incorporating the comedy, right? Like him almost blowing them off of the walkway, and like just the whole thing is really great. And then while he's doing it, um, it's pretty good. So I just think that Callum himself, while he hasn't been one of my favorite characters yet, this is a pretty good Callum season, and like his journey is my favorite storyline of this season. Let's rate it though. We're gonna go on a scale of 0 to 5. We've never put a 0 on the show. We're never gonna do it. We just would cancel the episode. Patty B, I didn't put this in the show notes. What is your rating for this season?
So my rating for last season was a 4.0. Right, I gave it 4 stars. This season it still had some of those things, like, it still felt kinda short, but I given it a 4.5, an extra little bump, just because this we got some deeper connections and stakes in this season, specifically, like, Soren's back and, like, how it affected Claudia physically as well to heal him. Uh See her hair kind of go white. So like there may be some things going forward with that. There were just more connections and stakes in this season. I felt like than season one. So a little bit higher, 4.5.
Yeah, so in my normal, I hate bridge things. I don't like them, and I like this one a lot. I rated this a 4. Like, it's a good bridge. It's very clear it's a bridge. I don't like bridges. I think that everything needs to be able to stand on its own. I don't believe this stands without season 1. I don't actually think it stands without season 3. Um,
Okay.
I think that both Paddy and I will both rate season 3 a 5. And, like, I think it is I have not watched season 4, but it is very clearly a bridge season. And that's fine. Like, they got signed on for 3 seasons. This was the bridge one, and I don't like I love Empire Strikes Back. I think Empire is an exception. I think the Two Towers Inn is an exception to bridges. Um
hmm
this one,
Without bridges, how are you going to get over really big rivers, Spencer?
listen, we're not talking about literal bridges. Here's the thing. I'm rating this a 4, and I'm talking like down on it. Like, obviously, I loved it. Like, I've watched it 3 times.
Right.
I obviously think it's great. I just so so much of bridge stuff feels like filler when you go to TV shows. I think that movies do bridge movies better than TV shows do bridge seasons, because, like, you said it already in this episode. If this had just been part of season 1 and this was season 1 and they get to Zadia in season 1, we would have
10 out
both
of 10.
rated both of these a 5, right? Like,
Yeah.
the whole thing would have been a 5. It would have been the best season 1 of anything outside of, like, The Witch. I think that was what I said last time. I think that I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to agree with you. Maybe season 1 and season 2 should have been one season. The problem is because this season is about air, right? And, like, we're missing the
Right.
importance of air in this one. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that, right, with the first season and the way that season 1 ended with the moon magic and it really making the moon
right.
mage, like,
Season 1 is
important.
moon. Season 2 is air. And there's
And then
six.
because it's
There's
about Callum.
right. There's 6 sides, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to touch all 6 sides of that dice. What the not the
I
dice?
hope I hope we get more than 6, books, right? If they're naming 1, 2, 3, moon, sky, sun, book 4 is earth. Um I hope we get more
Is it?
than
Isn't it
just
just the
the
six
back
sides of?
two.
Isn't it just the 6 sides of the thing that he's holding?
The special cube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want more than 6 seasons of a TV
Cuz
show?
cuz cuz I like this show.
Okay. You're getting
So I want
6.
more.
I almost
Maybe
guarantee.
we get 7 as like the dark magic and that's the like way
All
to
right.
wrap things up is
I'll give you we could get 7. But I doubt we get more than that. Like, anyway. I liked it. I give it a 4. Um I wish I liked bridge stuff better, cuz I actually think that, like, if you had what we should have done is we should have just binged all 3 for this episode. We
mm.
can't do that though. We're gonna do one every season. Uh, they're short. You should watch it. Um, Patty B, where can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at PaddyBMTG. We'll be doing more TikToks. Sounds like on that. I've also installed Twitter with at Heezy Game Media on my computer, so we can actually start doing some Paddy's polls and some interaction there. Right, not having Twitter on the phone for work is going to be a net positive.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Spencer13H. You can find me every week on Constructive Criticism, and every month on two podcasts: Smash Through, a podcast about always improving a Smash Brothers, and Arena Mythicast, a monthly podcast about getting mythic and the ways to do it and how to get better. You can also find me on TikTok. I'm going to be competing with Paddy B. We're going to be doing a monthly bet around how each of us will post a TikTok before the show about what we can be talking about the on the show, and then whoever gets the least likes has to buy the other person lunch. Maybe it should be monthly though. We can't do a weekly lunch, Petty. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
It's tricky. Monthly is probably good, but doing the weekly TikTok
We'll
is
do it
great, and
weekly,
maybe
but
the like average of
we'll figure out
them.
how often the lunch happens.
Yeah.
That being said, you can like and subscribe right here. Don't forget to check out us on TikTok at Heezy Game Media, and then review. Fun fact: you can review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. So do that. Give us a 5 stars, and we'll start reading those on the air. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys all next time with another episode of the Need to Nerd podcast.